anniversary stream, everybody. Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, of the 20th year anniversary with Reaper Miniatures. Yay, me. Whoever knew I'd have enough stick-to-itiveness to have this, along with, awesome, our Queen Quindy, our benevolent underlords, John and Justin, and, you want to come up? Come up, Papa. Kiki! Good girl. Oh, good girl. You're a good girl this morning. What happened? Did you know it was the special anniversary stream? You decided not to nom on me this morning? Yeah? Good girl. Oh, good girl. She's like, I will put my paws on you, Mom. I will put my paws on you. Oh, now the nibbles are starting. Oh, now the nibbles are starting. Okay, Papa, go ahead. Come on. Good girl. Good girl, Kiki. Good girl. Yay, good girl. No noms. Now the teeth are out. Now the teeth are out, folks. All right. That was a surprisingly good Kiki. Whoa, hype trains. We got the hype trains going on. Tyler the Tired. Well, apparently you're not too tired to gift subs. I was going to take this off, then I realized it was cold in here. Yay. Yep. There's my Keekers. My giant dog. Yep. Giant puppy. Only 9 months old, Wasser. Only 9 months. She's a monster. She's not as much of a monster as her brothers, you guys. Her brothers are like 2 or 3 inches taller than her, and they're over 80 pounds. They're both of her brothers that live in Florida. My friend Shani gives me updates, and they're like 85 pounds in 9 months. Pretty insane, folks. All right. Hi. Kiki eats, it's hard to measure, Wasser, because I don't she's half on kibble and half on a fresh cooked diet, because I just think the latter is healthier, because kibble's just dried up, carb kernels, really, and we all know how I feel about carbs, so, she eats, I give her, a little bit more than a cup of food of normal kibble, and then she gets, a quarter package of her fresh stuff, and we do that twice a day. So, I mean, she probably eats about 1,300 calories a day, maybe 1,200, 1,300, something like that. I have never wanted. Okay, first I have to thank all these people who are subbing. Hold on. Let me get to it, and then we'll address that question. All right, so first, Tyler, we thanked you for your sub. Jedi Jared, I missed your sub. 47 months. Awesome. That's fantastic. And Twisted Oma has a milestone, has watched consecutive streams, and oh my god, there's so many of you. We've got Turgeon resubbed, and that's 22 months, and Quindy saved her prime for us today, that's 40, and Otter Mama at 43 months. Oh, I'm just trying to get everybody. Ding, people, ding. Wow. Yeah, yes, watched 3 consecutive streams this month and sparked a watch streak. Yay for watching, Twisted Oma. Oh, his China being the traditional gift. Don't tell them that. Reaper will ship me something that breaks. Let's see here. Okay, and then we are down to... I'm getting there. And then they're Jedi Jared for 47 months. Yes. I have to sing the quadra sub-anniversary. Yeah, something like that. Or quadruple sub-anniversary. If I really want to test myself. I like tongue twisters. All right. And I think then... Once we get here, had to work. Bummer, Kuriko. Well, Kuriko can still win. Booking kitties, I love your little happy kitty tails. Those are great. And then we're going to go down to Babatuk, who gave us a 10-month sub. Thank you. And I'm getting there. I'm slowly catching up. Mobrock with the 31. Insane. Dogfather with 37. Thormo with 43. I could tell that we're on Reaper's channel because it's taking forever for us to get one freaking hype train. Seriously. Okay, now the question about the Anne miniature. I have never been really the person who wants a miniature of themselves. There was one that was close. Jennifer did one. Jennifer Haley, my friend and award-winning miniature painter and great sculptor too. There was one in it was me as oh lordy, it was a long time ago. I don't remember the name of the figure. She was kind of a Mongolian lady, leaning over on her axe. But Jennifer did that piece for me, like kind of based on Anne. Yeah, I'm not really a barbarian though. I mean, I am chaotic. That's definitely chaotic good. That's me. That's me. Good intentions, questionable methods, chaotic good. That's me. But Loki has too much pride for hats. Got it. But yeah, it was a Mongolian. You're right, Cranston. I'll give that to you. I won't dock you the 50 DKP or 50 XP that warrants, but but anyway, Dark Sword was going to do one of me to go with their Jennifer and Marika's, but Talon, we never really got together to get concept art done. So it just wasn't. I would have wanted Kiri as my war dog. I would have wanted to be a Viking. I would have wanted to be a Viking and with Valkyrie with my Kiri war dog. That's what I would get if I was in a miniature. Like if that's the only thing I think I'm even interested in having is an Anne miniature. But yeah. So totally like that. Yeah. But yeah, hold on. Muscle nose is kind of allergy full. Spring allergy fulls out here today. Ugh. Cleared pipes. All right, here we go. Yeah, Splat, it's good to see you. Sweet. Awesome, fantastic. Yeah. Hopefully you have set it all up properly, Quindy. I trust you. And if it goes wrong, we'll just have Justin fix it. All right, hashtag free. Hashtag free, everybody. We never do this. We never get the free spam. Well, now you can type hashtag free. And Quindy can't even give you a Luca fist for every single one. Quindy will have to wait and just do the Luca fist times 100 after. Oh, they're all adding. 19 total. We have 19 total giveaway people. Remember, this is for big stuff, guys. This is for a $100 gift card for Reaper Store. Think about all the paint you could buy. Like, seriously. So yeah, hashtag free if you're just coming in. We're going to do our first giveaway for my 20th anniversary with Reaper. Thank you, Dave. Thank you to Reaper Dave, everybody, for okaying us for 5 of these gift cards. Well, I guess you're going to have to make another one if you win, Cranston. Oh, no. First world problems. Oh, please remember you only have to enter once for the entire stream or she will definitely Luca fist at you. We have almost 30 giveaways. Ha, Gibson, funny. Yes. All right, while you guys do that, I am going to get my shadows and highlights for this red. Because red is one of my favorite colors to paint. Probably my favorite color to paint. Let's get some, I want some dragon red? Yeah, let's get some dragon red for some shadows on that. I think I was using heraldic for this. Where's my heraldic red? Why have I misplaced everything? There. 32 total. Believe this is heraldic. I used heraldic. Heraldic is kind of a good base red for me. And I don't like to go any lighter. When I'm doing like a really, really rich like velvet, dark like black velvet red, then I start very dark. Then I would start with Urgathoa or something of the sort. I will get out my Asmodeus, but I don't think it's going to be dark enough. So I will get Asmodeus and Urgathoa out. Where's my Urgathoa? There it is. Well, her wings are done, and I don't want to like rub off parts of them, so I'm going to leave them away. I like her with wings. I think they frame her nicely, Wasser, but she's perfectly good without it. All right, I think we almost have enough giveaways now. Anybody new, we'll give you just a little bit of time here to enter the giveaway. First giveaway is going to drop very, very shortly. If you just signed in, it's my 20th anniversary of working at Reaper Miniatures, and we are doing 5 $100 gift certificates for Reaper, and we're going to give one away every 15 minutes or so. Making Quindy put her running shoes on today. So Urgathoa Red is a beautiful dark burgundy. If you want to paint something burgundy, Urgathoa is your baby. I would probably shade this by adding in just a little bit of blue liner or brown liner. Since it's quite dark already, you really don't need much, but it is a gorgeous burgundy color. So it's also good for shading any medium red, and it would be good for building a dark red wash. So, all right, we have 35. Oh, you're here, Moon Glooms. Yay! All right. So yes, are we ready, Quindy? Should we just hit the button, or do you want to wait for a few more? Oh, we have people coming in. Should we do the Jeopardy song? Well, you better type #free, Pendrake. So that you get in on the first poll. There you go. So mostly you're lurking and trying to work on your own stuff, probably, the Moon Glooms, huh? And not chatting to us all. Because we're terribly disruptive chatters. All right, well, let's just try the Urgatho and not bother with the Asmodeus right now. And I'll just mix up my Heraldic Red as well. Yes, the #free is actually, you just type it once for the whole stream, or Quindy will Luca fist you. This just sounds bad. Quindy will emote at you vehemently. There we go, much better. Quindy will emote at you vehemently. Yeah, we don't want to channel Luca on this stream, right, Quindy? Oh, it's your lunch break. Oh, that makes sense, Moon Glooms. Cool. Yes, don't forget to stretch. That's a great name. Oh, we're almost like full up. We almost have. Are you waiting for 40? Oh, try the first one. Okay, drum roll. Wait. That's not a good drum roll. Oh, I'm there, Moon Glooms. That's where I am every day. Wait, can we do the... I wish I had a real drum. Do we have a winner? Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, all right. Don't forget to stretch. You have the great name. You have won a $100 Reaper gift card for use in the online store. And you should, there we go. So email us at giveaways, plural, at reapermini.com. We need your username on Twitch, exactly as it appears. So don't forget to stretch. What you won, a $100 gift certificate, and what show you won it on. Anne's 20th anniversary Reaper Pro Tips, or you can just say Reaper Pro Tips, April 3rd. And yeah, there you go. Yes, there you go. So giveaways at Reaper Mini. Email them. Tell us your username. Tell us what you won, which is a $100 gift certificate. Online, probably, I guess. Yeah. And then on Reaper Pro Tips, Anne's anniversary. And if you don't claim it, then I suppose we have to find a different person for it. But yeah. Considering you have an awesome username, you definitely should claim your prize, and then you can buy. And if you don't paint like 28mm, you can buy paints and brushes instead. Hobby supplies on reapermini.com, and yeah, giveaways, plural, at reapermini.com. There you go. Quindy's got it. Quindy's got it for you. Just look on the screen there, and there are written instructions. Because Quindy is so great that way. I do love that it's I won something? Question mark. Sure. Thanks for coming along and like hanging out with us. That's great. And sharing your wonderful username, because I really do love it. All right, now let's get back to like actually mixing. Oh no, where'd my paint water go? All right. We interrupt this stream for Anne figuring out that she left her paint water in the other room, because this was me, guys. This was me on Friday. Where did it go? There it went. Apparently, I was really convinced I was going to paint in the other room and not this room. Yeah, I am chaotic. I know I've taken the alignment tests at least a couple times. They always come up pretty much the same thing. If they're an alignment test that's going to split hairs, they call me neutral good with chaotic tendencies. And if it's an alignment test that doesn't bother splitting hairs, I'm chaotic good. I'm apparently not neutral enough to be neutral good. So yes. Doglet had a bit of an episode because yesterday... There we go. They ate for the pinned message. Awesome. I need to close the pinned message, though, so that I can actually see more chat. More chat! All right, there we go. Yay! Doglet, treats rained from the sky yesterday. The doglet got tangled in the leash, and I bent over to untangle us, and the treats that were in my pocket spilled out onto the ground, and so Kiki got, like, a whole half bag of treats. So she had a blowout this morning. And otherwise yesterday was unexceptional, so I'm pretty sure it was the treats raining from the sky. Yeah. So we've got our colors here, and we're going to add 2 drops of water to our Urgathoa red and 1 drop to our heraldic, because we want to be able to use it for touch-ups. Yes, only type the hashtag free once for the whole stream, or Quindy will emote at you fiercely. And we're going to mix this up. 2-to-1 is very watery paint. It still has a little bit of body to it, but it definitely goes a lot more transparent at 2-to-1, especially the darker colors. The reason for this is that they do not have as much or any white in them, and white is the color that's primarily used to add coverage to paints, whites and the oxides. Oh no, Inara. No, Kiki does not turn her nose up at treats. That does not happen. Does not happen at all. So the difference between the 4-to-1 and the 2-to-1 should be very evident. Both of these are built in a high density red base, so they still have a fair bit of coverage even when thinned. Varl, thank you. Thank you for the resub. Yes, 42 months. Yes, 20 years and 42 months. Twisted Emma's already done with my anniversary stream. She's like, hey, what about I know that's not what you meant, Twisted Emma. I just think it's funny. She's like, Crow's Nest. Ian is boring. Give us Crow's Nest. Yes, treats rained from the sky, and Kiki ate way too many of them. And because they were not like just the jerky treats, they were kind of the cheapo treats from PetSmart that have a lot of starches and stuff in them that are just fillers. I suspect they gave her gut a little bit of an issue. So I feel like I need just a little bit more red above her thumbs here. There. Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, Crow's Nest on indefinite hiatus. Probably till something cool happens or they get an idea for what they'd want to do. It can be a bit of pressure to keep coming up with content on a show. Mine is easy, it's just I just have to come up with new miniatures that I want to paint. Oh no, there we go. We're in focus, mostly. Let me get this out of frame so that we can actually see the real colors. All right, so I'm just essentially, oh, yay. Yes, type hashtag free. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, right, Proctor's got a real job, and he travels a lot for it, so that can easily throw a monkey wrench into the works. All right, so I just wanted to get a nice solid red base on this. So I'm just throwing another coat on real quick, just touching up some little areas that I can see that I didn't quite get a tight coat on the first time. Oh, CNOT with the raid. Oh, little did you know, CNOT, it's my 20th anniversary of working for Reaper Miniatures today. So we are giving away $100 gift certificates for Reaper Miniatures website. So miniatures, paints, brushes, etc. So yes, so all the new CNOT people, if you like painting miniatures, and you like miniatures, you can toss a hashtag free in the chat and it will add you into the giveaway. We're giving out another 4 of them because 20 years is a long freaking time for me to work for one company. So yes. So yeah, pretty crazy. So this is my happy anniversary stream. I'm painting as usual, mind you, but yes. Yeah, I know, Fistic, I never thought I would ever, I really never thought I would ever work for a company for 20 years. Never ever. Who thinks that? But, I think it's going to be we could do a quadra-subiversary. That's easier to sing, but quadruple subiversary has a nice to it, you know? But yes. Thank you for rating, everybody. Thank you for rating. If you're into miniatures and you're into painting, type a hashtag free in chat and hang out with us because we're going to be doing a giveaway around every 15 minutes, and we did one about 5 minutes ago. So, yeah, right. Yeah, Reaper's a great company to work with. Oh, nice, Dogfather. Nice. High five. But yeah, so I decided I wanted to give away stuff on my birthday because, this is what you do. Or sorry, on my anniversary. This is what you do on your anniversary. You give things away to other people. And if you can get away with it, you give away stuff that Dave okays you for that you don't even have to, put in your own money for. Oh, dear. But thank you, Dave. Thank you to Dave, Reaper Dave Pugh, company owner, for okaying, and accounting god, for okaying our gift certificates today. It's awesome. So I'm just putting a real quick, this is a beautiful red. It's called Heraldic Red. It's from the Bones line, which means it's focused toward a little bit higher coverage, so it generally makes a pretty good base. And I'm just touching up my base coat right now to make sure that I've got a nice solid one before I start putting in shadows and highlights. Red can be tricksy sometimes. You want to make sure you have a nice solid coat, a nice even coat, and before you dive in on that. Yes, all hail Dave. Giving away other people's money. You bet. It's awesome. So super duper. But yeah, so timely stream, CNOT. Timely stream. So yeah, we're doing some shading and highlighting on red today. And in this case, and I don't always do this, I was talking about it earlier. If I want to do a really dark red, like if I'm doing a black velvet, or a kind of a red-black velvet red, where the shadows are really, really intense, then I would start with a much darker color. I probably would start with Urgathoa Red, which is going to be my shadow today. And Urgathoa Red's a Pathfinder color, so it's still Reaper paint, but it's for the Pathfinder line. It's a beautiful warm burgundy red, so it makes a great starting point. It's quite dark, and when you build up to a brighter red over it, it can give you some very dramatic shadows. But this is a pretty flat surface, so I didn't want to go that way on this one. I tend to do it when I've got a lot of big, voluminous folds on a model. If you did a hashtag free, it should get to you. These are Reaper paints, correct? Yeah. This is the paint line I created, actually, Fistic. So when I worked at Reaper in the headquarters, before the pandemic, I was in Texas for 17 years, and I hand mixed. I named all the colors. I came up with all the formulas for all the colors, and I hand mixed almost every batch of Reaper Master Series for about 17 years. Then I met a guy and moved out here to the West Coast, and now I stream for Reaper. That's my job. I work part-time for Reaper instead of full-time for Reaper. But yeah, so Reaper Master Series is my thing, and Pathfinder is one line, and Bones is one line, and then regular MSP Core Colors is the flagship line, so to speak. So yeah, we did a lot of different stuff for the line. I like all of the lines. I use probably an equal proportion of regular, Bones, and Pathfinder in my day-to-day painting. So, yeah, Mubot is a little bit erratic about notifying about entries. We do not yet. That was one of the projects that our CEO, Ed, before he passed away, sadly, this last year, but Ed did want us to do an airbrush line, and he was well into, like, R&D on it. So, Aphistic, it's possible that will still come out. It depends on where that project is, who's in charge of it now that Ed is gone, and what the priority is. Yeah, it was pretty sudden. We were all really broken up. I really miss him. But yeah, that was one of the things that he really wanted to add to the Reaper line. It was just finding the right base for it and then having a bunch of painters test it out and make sure that, it was a quality product. And I'm not sure where he was on that, on the stages of that Q&D or R&D. He wanted to do a historical line too. And so all these projects will now kind of stay until we figure out what's going to happen with them, right? So yeah, if it's like, given that, thanks, Dogfather. They airbrush fine with a little bit of thinning. Most of the painters I know who airbrush with MSP are pretty happy with them. The big thing to remember is that they are more fluid out of the bottle, so you don't have to thin them as much to get them to a good consistency with airbrush. And most painters I know use just water or water plus just a little bit of isopropyl. I think a 9-to-1 or a 10-to-1 on the water to isopropyl. To airbrush, to thin these paints with. You don't really need an airbrush medium with MSP. Yeah. So. Okay, Quindy says she can see the list and you're on it. Yeah, good. That's why we love Quindy. She's here for us. All right, so let's start adding in some shadows here. Now, whenever you thin an acrylic paint, it's going to dry lighter than it looks. So the downside of thinning this nice burgundy red is that now it's going to dry a little lighter than it looks when it's wet. So that's why I decided not to go with Asmodeus instead of Ergothoa, because I knew that Ergothoa was just a shade darker. You can see the difference there between them. And so I knew that Asmodeus, if I use that, if it's going to dry lighter, it might not really have any difference at all between that and Heraldic Red. So I went for a more dramatic difference, as you can see on the palette, in the hopes that we would get better shadows. But yes. So yes, it is my 20th anniversary. Oh, I mix all the time, Mephistic. Like, I know almost all these formulas by heart because of years of mixing them. But even so, I still love to mix. And often when I will work with like Chimera colors, or I'll work with Scale Color Artist, and I'll mix those into the Master Series and vice versa. So I like to do a bunch of mixing. I almost always mix my own highlights. I almost never reach for a highlight color. I always mix it because I find that it goes better. I find that it blends easier, I guess, for me. So it's a combo. When I travel, I only bring like 24 paints with me, and I can mix anything in the line. But that said, there are colors out there that are really hard to mix because there may be pigments in them that when you're mixing a gallon of it, the pigments are significant. But when you cut that down to a single bottle, there's just a trace of violet or a trace of blue or something like that. And that's really hard to mix by hand. So some colors, if I'm going to be using them, I carry those colors with me because to try to mix them just freehand would be, even though I know what's in them, would be really, really a pain in the butt. So thank you for the push, Turgeon. Yes, and I just published my first novel too. So, it's a whole bunch of landmarks this year. But yeah, so thank you, Turgeon, for the highlighted message. But like, for an example of, oh yeah, I mean, like, it's the same kind of thing. They're all, yeah, I only use water, so water and some of these, I have bottles of just pure water, and I also have bottles that have a little bit of Flow Improver added. Now, Reaper Master Series has Flow Improver actually in the base formula, so you don't need to use Flow Improver, but if I'm doing something like really fine freehand, where I really want to make sure that my surface area, or my surface tension is broken, I want to be able to do really fine stuff, then I will use a mixture of water and Flow Improver, but otherwise, just water. It's just water. I really, for years, Aphistic, I worked with Games Workshop paint, I worked with Vallejo, I worked with a whole bunch of other paint lines, and what I found is that I had to doctor them to make them really work the way I wanted to. So I found that I always had to add Flow Improver, Slow Dry, or some mixture of the two, in order to make them really function at the level I wanted. And I was sick of doing that. And so essentially when I came to making Reaper Master Series, I looked for a base that wouldn't need as much thinning, but that still would, work really well. And one that I could add the flow improver to already. So all I needed to thin with was water. So I didn't need to just sit there and thinning and thinning and thinning to get it to the point where if I wanted to do layering and get smooth blending, for example, you need a lot of thinning to do that. So I wanted to have a paint line that stood on its own really well without additives, but that you could still add stuff into if you needed to. Yeah, just remember, like I said, is most paint lines out there are going straight up for coverage. And so they're giving you kind of a goopy paint that's really thick. So for any thinned application, you're going to need to thin those paints. You don't need to thin MSP as much, or usually for base coat, I do like a 4 or 5 to 1. So like 4 or 5 drops of paint to one brush full of water. There's thinning MSP. Yes, and I have a free video online. I did a class for Reaper, virtual ReaperCon 2020 during the pandemic. I did a class for thinning MSP paints. I talk in that class about how much you thin our paints for all the different basic miniatures techniques. So if you do decide to try out some MSP, give that a watch. Quindy's got it there in chat for you. And yes, thank you for the bomb. There's also all my socials, my Patreon. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/paintingbig. I love my Patreon. I'm actually in the process of figuring out what I'm going to teach this month, and it's always fun. Always fun to do that. So let's get this dark color and pop it in here and see if I can get these folds to show up. Probably going to need to do a couple of layers because it is thinner. And I'm going to want to get a lot of paint off my brush so that I can get these. So you can see the shadows though starting to come out even with just a little bit. These folds are very, very shallow. So I didn't really want a big, bold streak of color there. And that's why I have my heraldic red here, because if I go too far, I can layer over the edges. But you can see the shadow, and it's there, so... There we go. Cool, cool, cool. Alrighty, so that's what we're on to. But yeah, if you have any questions about MSP, that's probably the biggest thing, is that it's really meant for you not to have to do a lot of work to it to get it to the point where you can, layer with it, glaze with it, wash with it. It makes great washes. If you add a little bit of sealer or matte medium and a bit of water, you can make a wash out of any MSP pretty well. So we're getting that. You can see that just enough. I just want a little bit of shadow because I'm going to be highlighting with this also. And thank you for the sub, Hyper Bunny. Thank you. If you just came in, we're doing my 20th anniversary of working for Reaper. We're doing our special stream. So we're giving you a giveaway. So do a hashtag free if you want to be entered into the giveaway for a $100 gift certificate for Reaper. Can buy lots of paint with that. Or figures. Or a dragon. Maybe 2. I don't know. I don't know what dragons are priced at these days. Hey there, Chibi Amy. Good to see you. No, that doesn't enter you in, Zachariah. Yes. So, yes, you could get a few dragons these days with $100. Well, good. I'm glad that inflation has not hit dragons. Oh dear. All right. So, dear me. I'm just thinking about inflated dragons now. But anyway, so I also need to shade on the underside of her bust here, right? Because we've got definitely an upper part that's getting some light. You can even see that under my lighting here. Thank you, Chibi. Nice. Balloon dragons, right? Now just thinking of the Thanksgiving Day parade. I'm sure there's a balloon dragon. So I'm going to do a little bit of a highlight on the underside here. Even though a shadow falls naturally, it's, no, metal dragons these days would cost hundreds of dollars. Like, the price of tin has gone so far into the stratosphere. And tin is the main component. But yeah, I don't even, like, honestly, metal dragons are overrated, in my opinion. Having painted metal ones and having painted resin and plastic, I'll take plastic or resin over metal any day. They're just too heavy. The paint rubs off at the drop of a hat with the metal dragons. Balloon dragons. Shadow Raven. Quindy's gonna pop you, Shadow Raven. Don't push. Do not provoke the happy fun Quindy. Do not taunt. Do not taunt. You only need to do the hashtag free once, folks. Only once. Do not make Quindy regret this so much that we never do it again. Are we ready for a second one, Quindy? We ready for our second giveaway? So I'm going to put a little bit of the shadow in between all these little padded areas to make sure. Oh, no, it's the bot. The bot is broken, Shadow Raven. You can always, if you wonder if you're entered, just ask in chat and Quindy will check the list. Wings fall off your metal dragons even with pins. Yep, I remember that. Yeah, let's do another one. Okay, so anybody who's not in yet, do your hashtag free. If you've already done hashtag free, even if the bot didn't say anything, assume you're in. If you really want to check, ask Quindy. But you should be in if you typed your hashtag free. It's just our bot, our notification bot is not on it. Doesn't do it anymore. Yes, Quindy is the hero. If you're fussing, then you are absolutely already... Oh, we need drum roll. Drum roll. Drum roll, drum roll. Roll, Quindy, roll. Bot is, like, not working. Masara! Woo! Round of applause. Congrats, Masara. Yay! So, yes, you email giveaways... plural, at reapermini.com with your lovely username and what you won, $100 gift certificate on Anne's anniversary show, or you can just say Reaper Pro Tips on April 3rd. Today is also my nephew's birthday, by the way. So if you're watching, Graham, happy birthday. If you're not watching, well, he's in school, so he's probably not watching, which is a shame because he could have won some money. Yes, there it is. Now Masara can go wild and crazy. Thanks. He'd have to, I don't think he's watching during class though, you know? Like, he does during the summer, he watches here and there. Or he has in the past, Mom says. My mom. Because they hang out a lot during the summer, or have hung out a lot, and, because he likes hanging out with his grandma because he's a cool kid, and every once in a while he'll tell Mom he's watching me. Awesome. Yeah, that's true, Vistic. Yeah, you need some more paint. Awesome, Asara. That is an excellent usage. Wassercat, really, that's it's considered a texture when you're doing chest hair on the mini. The biggest thing is you need to make sure you're following a natural example. Like, make sure you've got the hair growing in the right direction, right? That's the biggest thing. And then usually it's just a bunch of, let's see, do I have dark strokes? I don't have a dark paint other than the red, but so if you've got the mini, and also I will point out that it's really hard to make it work on a 28. It's much better on a 75 or bust wasser. Really hard to do on a really small miniature because you have to be really fine with your brush strokes. So let me get close. And I'm getting really fine here. There. So you've got to get like little tiny and try to like build them up. And you need to make them probably really short too, like that. But you'd be using like a dark brown or whatever the hair color would be. And you'd be kind of, it's like I said, it's best if you have a photo example, which could be pretty gross if you went looking for that online. But you know, it's your choice. So, but you want to just keep layering these really fine strokes. And you aren't going to be able to do this unless your paint is quite thin. So this is a 2-to-1 mixture. And if you get any glops, then you're probably going to have to take some skin color and go back over it. It's effectively texture work. But yeah, so like I've got a bit of a glob there. So what I would do is I would, if it was on a model, I'd be taking a skin tone. But otherwise I'll be using pure white because I'm on a white card. And I would come back over it a little bit to break up that little glob. Same short little tiny brush stroke. But yeah, so it's persnickety, but it also is like not, and you can see like in scale. Like that would be in scale actually. Yes, be careful Googling Burly Man. 5 o'clock shadow to the face is going to be, yeah, it's going to be a glaze. You're going to want to do usually a grayish glaze of all things. Because usually that's the way it looks. You could use maybe a gray brown or a softer brown, but brown can look like the gray that really seems to work out. Unless you've got a blonde person, then you're blonde. I wouldn't ever do the 5 o'clock shadow in the chest hair on a blonde model because I just think it's really hard to carry off. Ogre armpits, thanks, crows. Yeah, right, aren't they though, Rick? But yeah, for 5 o'clock shadow, a glaze is where it's at. And just paint it just around, you know, where you'd see it. Do the skin tones first, do the highlights and shadows on the skin tones. The glaze should be the last thing you do. A mermaid with a beard. Oh dear. All right. Anyway, so let's get some, I think I've got my shadows. Oh, I gotta get the sword hilts, that's right. So let's get the bottom side of these guys. Yeah, I mean, it's just having like the paint consistency correct and a really fine, as you can see, you need a really fine brush tip to get those really fine brush strokes, or you're not going to have success with it. You'll be unhappy. So really good brush, properly thinned paint. So a little bit of shadow. You can see the shadow on the one side there, that nice little band of shadow. Let's do another one. Alrighty, gotta keep an eye on things. Want to make sure that we have enough time to do all of our gift certificates. We'll go a little over today. So I guess we'll do one. Don't want to do one right at the end of the stream though. Oh no! Queen D's brought down the pun hammer, folks. You can't cause her physical pain or you get removed from the giveaway. So if you're going to make one, it better be worth it. All right, I'm going to not forget this cloth back here. We can always add in more shadows if we decide we need them. I like doing at least one layer so I can see. Notice that just brings out the details a little bit nicer. And then bringing up some highlights. So we'll put a little bit of extra shading underneath these swords. Her wings are going to come out back here too, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. So it's a very windy day today. Hopefully we won't have internet connectivity issues, but the happy news for me is that it's supposed to be 70s later this week. I can't wait. I'm so done with cold weather. I want my freaking summer. Yep. It's snowing again? I'm so sorry, Chibi. I'm so sorry. All the people who are getting way more snow than they ever wanted or needed this year. I'm so sorry. All right. So we got to go up now. And the easiest way, the first step for going up on any red that you started anywhere below clear, but clear red is my always go-to if I want a really vibrant red. So you can see the difference between the two. Here is the heraldic red that we base coated with. You can see that the clear red is much lighter and brighter. It's not significant, like huge lighter brighter though. It's just going to give us that extra pop on top of the folds. The reason we would go up to clear is it gives us options. So here's the dealio, is you can go up from clear red either in the direction of highlighting with white or the direction of highlighting with orange and yellow. So if you go to clear red, you have the option to go in either direction because this is just middle of the road red. Whereas if you're going for like heraldic or you've got violet red, maybe you only are going to go up with white, because when you have other pigments in there and you try to mix in the yellow to get your orange or the orange to get your orange red, those pigments can conflict and you don't get a very bright orange. So clear red, being only a pure red pigment, means that you can mix anything into it and you're not going to get a muddy color. Whereas heraldic has some green in it. So if you're mixing, you know, some yellow into some green and then it's mixing with red, you're going to get a muted color. You're not going to get a very bright orange. That's why you would go to clear red first, because it gives you more options. Yeah, that's true. Like, you have a much hotter summer. If it was Texas, I would just want a proper spring, because spring is the best season in Texas, in my opinion. We can get this nice clear red. And because clear red is a clear, it means it doesn't have as much coverage. It's just really, really vibrant, really bright. So we're going to, and really saturated. So we're going to just drop 1 drop of water into it, instead of the 2 that we would normally thin our paints with. That's so funky. I know. Well, it wasn't really, I think, yeah. It's not global warming, it's climate change, right? So it is scary how much extreme stuff we're getting this year. Like, makes me mildly anxious about the environment. But happier thoughts, because we have no choice. We cannot single-handedly march down and save the Amazon, much as we would like to. So one thing that I can do, what's going to happen here? Okay, let's talk about what's going to happen here and how we can fix it. Oh yeah, but you know that, Twisted Oma. Like, that's Texas. Like, that's Texas spring. Like, that's how I lost my bonsai trees. And you've lived there long enough. You know that's what it's going to be. It's going to be 80s one day, and then the next day it's going to be 34. At least in the springtime. It's true, Fistic. It's true. I just can't solve it right now, so that the anxiety attack from thinking about global warming is not worth it, because I cannot solve it right at this instant. But, all right, so the problem is that clear red, although it is very bright, is also very clear. So when you try to put it on over your heraldic red, you're not going to see a whole lot of a difference. It's going to be pretty subtle. So if I put some of this up here, it's going to give me a little bit of pop, but it's not going to give me a lot. Have I ever not looked forward to painting something I knew would look good, but had a high chance of needing to be repainted multiple times? Okay, so for me, the only time that would happen would be if I was trying a brand new technique. So, like, that's kind of where I'm at with my Golden Demon tree right now. So I'm just kind of trying to remember how I used to paint, because I used to paint in a very GW style, and I don't anymore necessarily. So I'm trying to recraft my old painting style, and that means I know I'm probably going to have to repaint or overpaint this first part until I land on a way I can do it now. Like, because the way that I used to do smooth layering maybe isn't the way that I would do it now, right? And so I'm having to kind of experiment and figure out how I want to go about getting the effect I want to do. I'm also doing an NMM Gold palette that's very different from any NMM Gold I've done in the past. I see, Valendar. Yeah. I see. Tiny details are not my like. I usually won't have to repaint it all, right? I'll just have to touch it up here and there. So, yeah. Well, the thing is, Wasser, back in the day, my style was very heavy metal. Like, when I was winning Golden Demons, I was very GW style, or I was capable of it. Nowadays, I'm still close, right? I'm like, it's just I don't do the smooth blends. I think my color palette is still very Games Workshop, and the tightness and attention to detail are still there, but it's the blends, right? It's like remembering, okay, how did I used to do this? Because nowadays I'm so impatient. I just wet blend. Somewhat, Wasser, but I enjoy a challenge. See, this is why I want to go back to Golden Demon and win a demon, is that I don't consider it regressing so much. I used to paint this way. I used to be able to get super smooth blends, and I loved it. It was very time consuming, but I could do it. And now it's a challenge for me to try to rediscover that. I really love a challenge, because when you've been painting as long as I have, you get bored. You get okay, maybe some people just get complacent, but but I like a challenge. I like to see, can I still do this? Right? Can I still manage to do this? So for me, it's not that, and remember, there are still plenty of other ways that I can flex my own muscles, even if I'm painting perfect blends. Like as far as the color choices and the designs and freehand and all that, I can still do all that. So yeah. Yeah, but the house style seldom changes, Valendar. It's been smooth blends for a long time now. They're high on technical merit, and I also enjoy technical merit. I really enjoy putting out a model that's very very clean, I kind of showed it the other day. I had the Golden Demon site up on my phone. It's a very cartoony style of fistic. So actually it has a lot in common with how we paint 28 millimeter in general. So it'll be kind of like this. It'll have heavy black lining or dark lining. It'll have a lot of contrast. It'll have, really poppy colors, really, really generally pretty vibrant colors. But the blends are perfect in a GW piece. Yeah. Yeah, edge highlighting is the quick, right? It's the quick highlight. So, hey, Chaos Queen, it's good to see you. Thank you. Welcome to my anniversary stream. Yeah. 20th anniversary. We should probably let's do it in just a couple minutes. So the problem here is that my red is gonna slowly build up, but it's gonna slowly build up, and I'm impatient. So we're going to use some white underpainting to get our clear red to show up better. So I'm going to mix up some white. I'm going to use Reaper Pure White because Reaper Pure White is thinnable to the point where I can do smooth blending with it. This is not super smooth, the fistic. This is, like I said, my standard style isn't far from Games Workshop. I do tend to go a little more naturalistic and a little less cartoony. With some of my stuff, but this Sophie is actually pretty cartoon, other than the hair, where I did go more realistic. I'm going to actually thin this 1:1 with this pure white. So 1 drop of water for every drop of paint. It's going to make it very thin. 20-year anniversary, bots. 20-year anniversary. And Rathmore, hey, welcome. Yeah, GW style is Games Workshop style of painting that they have developed over the years, that their painters... I got a little pink in my white. That's fine. I must have had a little bit of red in my brush. So this is a very thin white, and that's the point. It's not better, it's how you're using it, Wasser. All right, so Games Workshop white's going to be a lot more opaque, and it's going to be a lot stronger. Because it's got that more thicker consistency. Pure whites, when we were in the olden days, before I made Reaper Master Series, this is the best paint in the line, by the way. Best is relative. But what we really wanted back in those days was a white that we could thin down to within an inch of its life and still have it not fall out of solution and have it still usable. And that was really hard to find because white in those days, all the whites were gunky, they were really thick, and when you threw water at them, they just fall out of solution. It was really hard to paint like smooth blending up to white highlights, which a lot of people were doing in those days. It was a very Games Workshop time in the USA. And that's one of the things that GW style is about, is really highlighting up, or it used to be back in the aughts. So when I made this white, I wanted it to do that. If I thinned it, I wanted it to stay in solution and not fall out. And that is what you are seeing right here. And that is what you see with almost every Master Series paint, is that you can thin it 1-to-1 with water and it still stays level. It does not fall out of solution. It is mixed and it stays in solution. You can use it without having to thin. Now, if you're looking for straight coverage out of the bottle, then other paint lines can be better. But if you are thinning, if you are building highlights and you are thinning paint because you are layering, or you want to get really fine textures and you're underpainting, pure white is the shiznit. It is the paint. Like, in my private painting these days, I use a lot of Chimera, I use a lot of scale color, but I always use pure white. I have not even bothered to order the white from those other lines because I know it's not what I want. Because if I'm building highlights, I want a white that can stay in solution when I add water to thin it, and that I can build, highlights that will blend. So remember that any paint that is built for coverage is going to fight you when you need it to do blending, when you need it to layer, when you need it to do glazing, when you need to do any of that stuff. Because it's made for coverage. It's not made for transparency. So it's what do you want in your paint? So neither is better. It's all in how you're using it. So if Hyper Bunny thinks that Army Painter White is better, then they may be going for like a smooth coat over a dark color that will cover, right, easily. Which is something that pure white you're going to need a few coats for. Probably 2, but maybe 3 if you're like going over black. But if you're looking to thin stuff and do underpainting or texture underpainting or do smooth layering up to white, then MSP white is where it's at. And chalkiness is, it's not that, Valandar. That's not it. No. It's not poorly ground pigments. I can guarantee you GW spends a lot of money on that paint line and they're not using crap. It is that the paint is made for coverage. When you thin it, it fights you, and that is what you're getting. It's not meant to be thinned. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pro Acryl's a pretty good paint, Mike Scarborough. But back in the dawn of time, before I made Master Series, we had a real problem with finding a white that you could thin to the level we needed it, and it wouldn't fall out of solution. So that's what I tried to do it. Bill, essentially, Master Series is the best one. Oh, wow, and look at that. Even 1-to-1, it still gives you nice strength. Okay, so I'm essentially blocking in some highlight areas here. Hold on. Other companies' whites aren't going to thin down for layering and glazing and things like that nearly as well. They're going to fight you because they're made for high coverage. They're not made for thinning. I make my paints for thinning because it's how I paint. So I want a paint I want a white that's I still haven't mixed this. It's still in solution perfectly, even at 1-to-1. So it's exactly where I need it to be. If I want to do tiny cloth texture on this tabard, I can do it with this paint because it is so very controllable. Like, I can do a tiny little line there. It's, I have worked with paints where I have to sit there and remix them every time I reload my brush because they've fallen out of solution so badly. So you can see texture. Right, you can't, because it's not made for that. Keep in mind, guys, it's like you can't have everything in one paint. You're either going to go for coverage or you're going to go for transparency. And never the twain shall meet in some cases. And even then, actually, never the twain shall meet because it's like a physics thing. Translucency and transparency usually come from either dyes, which are fully soluble, or very fine particle sizes. When you've got very fine particle sizes, they don't lend themselves to coverage. It's the way that the light filters through and bounces off the polymers. Like this is like the physics of paint, the chemistry of paint. So when you're going for coverage, you're going for very high particle size in your resins and usually your pigments. And so you're essentially trying to block the light. And if you're very successful, you've got a high coverage paint. It blocks the light. But then what happens if you want that same paint to let light through and be translucent? It's physically not capable of doing it as well as something with a fine particle size. It's unless they figure out how to work physics magic, which, you know, they do from time to time. But right now, those things are mutually exclusive. Chimera will layer, but I found it very difficult with some colors wasser. I mean, it depends on if you want those perfect smooth blends, right? And if you're airbrushing or not. Chimera, I would say the white, I would not expect it to layer. It's a very high coverage white. I do own it just because it came in the box set. So I'm essentially going to layer up some more white here, and guys, and put the, hello, Obsidian Syrinx. Oh yeah, we should do another giveaway. We totally forgot, Quindy. We're going to have to ram these last few giveaways in this last half an hour. But Chimera also has some beautiful transparents. The pure white I am using is 9039 pure white, not the Bones white. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Yes, Chimera's strength is wet blending, Babatuk. Exactly, because it is opaque. That said, though, who got it? Mobrock! Yay, Mobrock! Mobrock got a $100 gift card. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Yeah, within 2 months it turns into a wash. Yep, and it doesn't hold together great. That said, they're transparents. Like, I love their royal brown. Do I have it? Well, okay, so here's their alizarin crimson. So this one. But you'll see they'll mark it on there as a transparent. These are very nice for glazing, I find. Yes, Reaper's strengths are layering and glazing, and the reason that is the case is because that's my paint style, and I made the line. And because of that, Reaper's line is unique in today's world. There are other lines like Pro Acryl that are kind of a hybrid, and some of the scale color stuff that are kind of a hybrid between the two. Like, they still have decent, like, they've still got good coverage, but they've maybe gone with a slightly more transparent base, and so you get a little bit more thinnability on them. So there are some hybrid takes on it as far as the resins and everything go. But Reaper's still pretty unique. Like, all the other companies would rather go for the coverage. And that, I get it, right? Because a lot of gamers out there who are trying to get pieces painted for the table, whether it be for D&D or Warhammer or any other miniatures game, they're going to want that quick coat. They're not going to be looking to layer or glaze. They don't even know what glazing is or why you would do it. So I'm popping in some of this white, and I'm leaving a little texture. The texture looks huge on screen, but in reality is very, very small. Alrighty. And I'm going to grab this lower edge, and now I'm going to put my clear red over the top of it. And what this will do is essentially it's like painting a color, putting a color on over white paper instead of colored paper. It's going to make our red brighter. Usually what I do is I use, not NMM Gold Shadow, I use Rich Leather. Rich Leather, and if you have to, you can mix a little russet brown into it if you want it darker. But I always start my NMM Gold these days. If I want it to be warmer, Valandar, then I will start with Rich Leather. I often will hold NMM Gold Shadow. For me, it's a great bronze. Here's the color difference. You can see how the colder color is the NMM Gold Shadow, and the Rich Leather is much warmer. All right, let's put our clear red over the top of this. Now, if I want to, I can keep my clear red really thin and I can hold on to some of that texture, or I can just put it over the top like I am and just make it into a highlight. So let's put this over the top here. Got a little bit too less on my brush. So now that gives us, you can see the white showing through. That gives us highlights. Yeah, essentially MSP is just unique, and it's not for everybody. Like some people who do a lot of wet blending don't maybe use a lot of MSP, or there are painters also who start out wet blending and then go back in with layering and glazing to refine and tighten that wet blend, and that, you know, for that they'd use MSP. But every paint line's got strengths and you know, things it's not as good at, and this is why you know, I often use a combo these days. Although most of the reason I use Chimera or Scale Color is because they have access to pigments that I didn't have at Reaper. So essentially, like the iron oxide pigments that they're using to make this burnt umber were not ones I had access to at Reaper, and so they got a very, very dark umber that I was never able to hit without adding black. So yeah, so most of the reason I gravitated toward the Chimera or the Scale Color is that it opened up more pigments to me, and I do have a traditional art background, so a lot of these pigments I'm familiar with from the olden days, or colors at least I am, and so, because a lot has changed in pigment land. So this is going up with white. We don't have to go up with white. In the olden days, I pretty often would take Sophie's reds up with orange and yellow. So we can go and do that. Now that I have some of these highlights kind of blocked in, I can go back and I can go more orange with it. Okay. That can be problematic, Pendrake. The NMM Gold Shadow has black in it, and so mixing can be fraught with peril. Yeah, after the first Learn to Paint kit, then go to the second. You can also look at my, don't forget to stretch. I have a YouTube channel, and I have foundations of miniature painting stuff on there too. You may want to look at it. Kind of, I don't have my layering and glazing ones up yet. Time has been sucked away from me since I published my book. I'm just like, I'm fighting to get into a new routine with it. But I do a bunch of stuff on there. But yes, Rhonda also covers layering and glazing, I think, in the second Learn to Paint kit. And if you learned well from the first Learn to Paint kit, then definitely pick up the second. Yeah. Metal, yeah, it's better. Again, better is different. I did a PDF on my Patreon about silver metallics recently. And the metal color silvers are aluminum flakes, so they have coverage, unlike, you know, mica metallics or silica metallics. But that doesn't necessarily help you if you're trying to do like blended highlights with them. So again, it's always purpose. Like, better is better when it suits your purpose as a painter. There are very few absolutes in the world of art. One person's better is another person's not as good. Like some paints that my fellow painters love, I just hate. You know, and that's just because of the way I use them. It's not the paint's fault. It's not that the paint is better or worse. That's why I usually qualify with the Reaper Pure White is like, if you want to build highlights that you are layering and trying to blend, Reaper Pure White every day is the best choice. But that's not the best choice for everything. So no paint is. Unless you're working in a style where one particular paint like really works with your style, like then maybe it is. But again, it's just for you. It's not for everyone. This is the stuff that we hate to hear as painters because we want the magic bullet. We want the thing that is going to work for us that we don't have to question or think about, right? But in reality, you will only find your own perfect if you do question and think about things. But that takes work and effort. And we would much rather be handed the magic pill or the fish. Give me the fish, please. Don't teach me to fish. Because it saves us time, right? And we have so little of that. Just doing some more underpainting on the sides here with this lighter color. Yeah. Yeah, that would be probably aluminum reaction Hyper Bunny. Because it is an aluminum flake, I believe. That's why it has coverage. But you won't have that happen with any mica or silica-based metallics because they're inert. They're not metals. They won't oxidize. It's rocks. It's rocks. It's not metal. All right, so we could continue to just bring up this red with white, and it would be okay. You can see we are pinking out a little bit, and the way to get rid of that is for more glazes. But the other way to get rid of that is to actually go up with orange. So I'm going to grab my orange and see. So the 2 Learn to Paint kits are made not to double up on colors, Wasser. So Learn to Paint Kit 1 for the basics, and then Learn to Paint Kit 2 is layer up. And together they give you a very good starting set of MSP paints. If you don't need the instruction and you just want like a good selection of paints, Reaper also does a starter set. That's like, I think like 11 or 12 colors. That's a good selection. Yeah, the liquid metal, because it uses actual metal flakes. Yep, yeah, and you have to do that, you've got to have that that alcohol, that solvent base, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, chemistry. Chemistry. So I'm going to grab some Sunrise Orange, which is one of the best decent coverage with saturated oranges we have. I'm going to add just a little bit of my red around the edge here, mix kind of a in-between orange. Reddish orange. Going to throw a little bit of water in there. Yeah, but we can't guarantee that those aren't, those may duplicate colors, Kodiak. If you're, the great thing about the Learn to Paint kits is that they don't duplicate any colors between the two. So yeah, the problem with the paint night kits that are more like meant for paint clubs and stuff is that I'm not sure that you can do that with them. Yeah, let's do another giveaway. Yes. Giveaway, 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 giveaway. Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Brother Raymond. Hey, it's been a long time. Congrats, Brother Raymond. Remember the directions to claim your awesome $100 gift certificate for Reaper is you must email giveaways, plural, at reapermini.com. Give us your awesome screen name exactly as it is here on Twitch. Tell us what you won, which is a $100 gift certificate. And what show you won it on, which is either Anne's anniversary stream or Reaper Pro Tips on April 3rd. So I'm putting some orange over here, and it's going to shade it away from pink. I think Chimera's got like probably the highest saturation magenta, Mike. The Reaper Clear Magenta is it's got probably, I think that it's a tie for the highest pigment count of any paint we've got as far as like how many ounces of pigment are in it. The Chimera one is seems a little bit more concentrated because the base they're using allows for a slightly higher pigment load, I think. And it appears a little darker, the Chimera one, out the gate, but then once you thin it, it goes right to this color. It's a quinacridone magenta, so any pure magenta should be similar. The hard part, though, is, and we found this out when we were working on Kathy Wapple the other day, to get a magenta, if you've got too much shading in there, it's going to go more purple than magenta. And too much shading and highlight got rid of our magenta here, and I'm going to have to hit it with another heavy layer. Since magentas are so see-through, you almost always have to underpaint them or go over white. And then when you start adding in shading and highlighting, it's easy to lose that magenta. So the best thing is to underpaint a lot of white where you want your highlights. Yeah. So leave it a lot of white. So if I was doing neckrons with magenta, I probably would spray the whole thing white and just line the joints, honestly, and then hit it with a couple of real heavy magenta washes, and then highlight very selectively. Yeah, the problem with inks though is that they're a bit shiny buds. They would have to, if they hit it afterwards with a spray, they could fix it. The FW inks are not dyes, so at least they don't bleed. They're acrylic inks. I'm going to get more orange and come up here. But yeah, any magenta is going to be a Queen of Credone magenta. It's going to be the same pigment, same thing, same chemical composition. Some are manipulated to be maybe a little higher coverage. I know that there is one high density version on the market, at least. But in color, they're going to be the same. And because it's the same pigment. It's a relatively inexpensive pigment, so there's no reason for art companies or anybody else to change it, I guess. The only time you see pigments start getting switched up is either moving away from toxicity, so that's why cadmium reds are now cadmium red hues, and they're not real cadmiums anymore, or cost, like cobalt blue, which also, of course, has a toxicity issue, or a radiation issue, as the case may be. But, like, some pigments, or I guess a good one would be, like, the umbers and siennas, which used to be, which are now just made off of brown and red oxides usually. Stuff like that. So that's more like what I wanted. I had more orange here, and I had to bring my clear red in and knock it down. In order for this to stay red and not orange out, I need to make sure that I'm putting a lot of my clear red still here. So orange always seems like it doesn't cover until you try to like highlight red, and then you're like, why is this not going on smoothly and transparently? Yes, did you miss that, Richard? This is my anniversary stream. I thought I reminded you guys the other day. I think we've got, do we have 2 more, Quindy, or 1 more? Because if we have 2 more, we should do another one right away. 1 more. Okay, so we'll hold off. We'll hold off just a little longer. Let's do it at 5 after. So let's do a little bit of the orange highlight up here. Now I can put the orange. The thing about this is that if I just go straight up from the orange, I can put the orange straight over. I don't need to underpaint it. But it won't give me as fast of a result, right? I'm trying to do this orange to highlight up here, and it's really not going down like fast. So what doing that white underpainting does is it lets me go quicker. It lets me build up color faster without risking getting kind of blobby up here. So if I really want this to come up faster and to be like, especially if I want a sharper, like up here, it's a rounded area. It doesn't have a lot of detail, so I can probably get away with it. But down here where I had all these folds and I wanted to bring them out, I definitely needed to have that underpainting to get that crispness. So that's why the white underpainting can work for you really well. Is it gives you something to springboard off of to put kind of like a firm edge like that. Now if we go over that with our orange, we get a lot cleaner of a look, right? So let me grab my orange. because that white gives the orange something to sit on top of, and boom, then it comes up. And it's got that nice clean edge to it, which would be hard to get with orange on its own because it's more transparent, right? So. And you can underpaint with other colors other than white. Thinking about doing a Patreon thing on that. One of our people in the chat does it a lot. Matt DiPietro teaches that style, if you're familiar with his work. He's a very good painter from the West Coast. Does a lot of seminars and one-on-one tutoring. Very high-level painter. So we got that. Oh, nice. Yay! Oh, what a nice Reaper miniatures. Look at that. Aw. Thanks, Reaper miniatures. Yay! See, it's a special day. It's a special day. And Sophie's red is starting to look really good too. Though at this rate, since we're talking so much and taking so much time, we'll probably not finish the red today. We'll have to finish it next time. But yeah, thank you everybody. I'll just, before ever people go scampering off, although we have one more giveaway, so I know I have a captive audience for the next 3 minutes. But thank you all for showing up for my anniversary stream. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have a big crowd hanging out. I'm glad we were able to give back to you for being our devoted audience, keeping our Twitch numbers up. And for all those subs that you give us to tell Reaper that you still want Reaper content, that's really important. We appreciate your subs. Your subs and your eyeballs. It's all about that. So it's taken me a while to work up the orange up here because I didn't do the underpaint. And if I wanted a really crisp outline or highlight around this little brooch that she's got on, I would want to do that orange highlight, that white highlight. Cooking chili, nice. Ugh, tomatoes. That's my poison, Turgeon. It's my poison. Can't do them. But yes, thank you all. I appreciate everybody. You guys are fantastic. And you always have such great questions. It's fun to talk about the paint chemistry stuff and the color stuff. I'm going to do a little bit of an edge. See how fine of a line I can get having thinned that paint. You know how little that is, right? So that's just a really good brush and paint that works with you on the consistency. Like if you tried to thin some other paints 2-to-1, it wouldn't give you this consistency. You would have to keep thinning and keep thinning and keep thinning until you hit the right consistency for that. So yeah, I think it's a little brooch or jewelry. Pendrake, if I had to guess. A little decorative piece. Brooch, I think. You had the right spelling, I think. I mean, normally it would be like, it seems like it would be a pin or something pinned to her cloth there. So it looks decorative to me. All right, so I'm going to take some orange and put it over that white line. And that keeps us from going pink. So some people don't like the highlighting reds up with orange and yellow, and they prefer to go to the white, to the colder highlight, and that's fair. Here I did want to go orange because of the blue armor. Those are complementary colors, so what I'm essentially doing here is a very sneaky complementary. And I talk about this from time to time, but you don't have to just choose your complementary colors based on your overall color scheme. You can also choose your complementary colors based on your highlights and shadows. So here we would say we'd have a red, we're going to have a red, yellow, blue color scheme, right? Our blue is blue, black, our red is in the middle, and our yellow is probably going to be some gold ornamentation. However, we're highlighting our red with orange, which picks up the blue, and we also have a red head with orange highlights in the hair, which also is complementary to the blue in a different way. So essentially we're hitting 2 notes of complementary colors here. We're also, by putting the orange here, one thing we are doing is kind of de-emphasizing the orange in the hair so that it looks more natural. If we'd gone more strongly blue with everything, say that we'd gone with a very monochrome blue color scheme except for the hair, or if we'd gone with like just black for our cloth, more neutral, then the hair would hit this blue and it would look much more orange than it does. So you can manipulate how your colors look by choosing particular highlights or shadows or other colors on the model. All right, I think we're at our final giveaway time. Yes, also if you like my stuff, I've done over 500 streams and they're all on Reaper YouTube. If you look for pro tips, that's me. We do a lot of models. We do most models start to finish, so you can paint along if you want to even. But yeah. Alrighty. Thanks everybody. Let's do our last little giveaway. Last little giveaway. Last little giveaway. Yes, and there's our Reaper YouTube, so you can go and watch all the stuff. You can endlessly stream my voice talking to you about paint chemistry. Tyler the Tired, one of the first people to chat today, and is now the last $100 gift certificate winner. Congratulations, Tyler. I hope you're still here. Are you still here? Are you still here? Where are you, Tyler? Where are you? Talk to us. Talk to us, please. Tyler. I'm not seeing him in chat. Come on, Tyler. Come back to us. There you go. Yay! So do you see the instructions up there above you, Tyler? Email us at giveaways, plural, at reapermini.com. Tell us that your name is Tyler the Tired and spell it for us so we know. And then tell them that you won a $100 gift certificate, online gift certificate from Reaper Miniatures on Anne's anniversary stream or on Reaper Pro Tips on April 3rd. But yes, thank you everybody for coming up. Yeah, oh, of course. Yeah, do spend it all at once. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, everybody else, for showing up. This was fun to spend it all on Osirian sand. Keep that color in print. You're good, Tyler. You're good. I was just worried. I was like, oh no, because you were on early. I didn't know if you were still on. Yes, it's been a fun one, guys. It's been a fun one. Let's hope that tomorrow's less of a Monday, but this has helped. This has helped make it less of a Monday. So tomorrow, here on Reaper Pro Tips, we are going back to our, this lady, where we're working on her metallics. We're doing metallics. And we're about to do some serious shading and highlighting and crazy stuff. So that is what we are on. Yeah. Yes, it's a very long time. Thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Quindy, thank you for wrangling the cats and only having to shake your fist at a few people. All right. Yep, I will see you around.